Check, check, check. Okay, cool, we're live. I literally just logged back in. Um, Literally. Okay, so yeah, let's focus on our clay table. Um, for anybody that has not seen the stream, I'll give you a quick rundown of what we're doing here. So clay is a data enrichment tool, um, primarily focused on companies trying to grow. So uh, they how I think about it is that it's basically like a Google Sheets platform, but instead of formulas, you get kind of like native integration into a bunch of different data providers, APIs, and like a nice UI so that you can kind of work with it without being too technical. There is some technicality to it. Um, but uh, but yeah, that's kind of how I think about the company in 10 seconds. In terms of what the product actually does. So I'm making a table. Basically, what I do with the table is first I find a bunch of companies. So there's a Google Maps API that's integrated into Clay. So I found local businesses, local dental practices to be specific, that are in the Vancouver area. I limited it to 25 responses. So I just found 25 for me. Basically, what I do is I get a bunch of company data from this one Google Maps enrichment. And then I uh, I created my own API, which if I zoom out, which is this. Um, and I mean, if you're not an engineer, don't worry too much about it. Basically, what the API does is in Clay, I send a JSON object to my backend API, and basically I pass the URL to the website. And in version 1, what I did is that I received that API or received that JSON index. So I'm listening to it, and the app, I basically import these routes, and in these routes I have a v0 route, which basically says generate. If we actually go into generate design, what it does is it captures the website URL from the request body and does a bunch of error checks, but essentially we'll assign it a UUID, and we take this prompt, we append it with the website URL that we got from the request body, and then we launch a Puppeteer job in the background. Basically, Puppeteer is a JavaScript tool that is used for web scraping and stuff like this, but one of the things it allows you to do is like programmatically surf the web and interact with JavaScript websites, or the DOM. I think is the not even I think the DOM, the document object model. Basically, you can plug into the DOM, and based on different CSS selectors, can do actions that we can do when we browse websites, such as clicking, such as typing, such and such. Basically, I launched this Puppeteer job, and it goes into a website called V0 by Vercel. It logs in, authenticates myself, and then once authenticated, it goes into the chat prompt part and passes it this prompt. So redesign this website with the URL this. Use the actual images from the original website where appropriate. And I have a system prompt set up in V0 that kind of details a little bit more than that. And yeah, and so basically that happens, it will time out. So I end up having to set up a webhook. And so I do some polling to get the V0 prompts like chat URL. If I go into here and I look at the webhook, basically this thing just like watches for these V0 prompts to be completed. And when they're completed, we go back to this page, when they're completed, I can then look up a single row within Clay. This is their sort of like stock functionality, where basically I pull in a table or pull in data from a webhook table. I match the job ID that we got from my API that I set up, that UUID, like I said. I then filter that operator to equal the row value in here. And I only run this, of course, if there is a job ID established, or else there won't be an available prompt for it. And yeah, and basically what that looks like is it will go in and redesign a website from scratch, which is pretty cool. And I mean, this is a very particular use case if you were, say, building like an AI design studio sort of thing. Like the vision that I had for it was something of the sort of find a bunch of local businesses that maybe have lame websites, get some information about them, pass them to V0, and programmatically build a bunch of new websites for these companies. V0 is a sort of iterative design tool that you would use. It's not really, made to be one shot. It's not some super advanced agent. I mean, it's pretty advanced. It's funny to think about where the world's gone that I'm saying it's not that advanced, but it's advanced. It doesn't necessarily take it to completion, and there's several holes in what it does here. Like I think right now, let's see. Yeah, see, services doesn't even load. And yeah, so basically what I'm trying to do now, because that all works pretty well. What I'm trying to do now is actually run an APIfy actor that will go in, scrape these dental websites, and produces this huge JSON object that will give you, the sitemap and the URLs, the copy, any of the information on the sitemap it'll produce. And the thinking is, what I'm trying to do, or what I've tried to do that just isn't working, is that get those results. I then want to pipe them to a ChatGPT, and there's a ChatGPT integration with Clay, of course, but the cell size here for this is too big. Needs to be smaller than 8 kilobytes, and yeah, so I can't do that. What I'm now trying to do is I've just configured my own API endpoint that will ping OpenAI from my API. And the idea is like, hey, I want to give this thing this huge JSON object and be like, hey, there's a bunch of information here that isn't valuable, but I want you to get, a general overview of what the site looks like, some of the assets and the copy provided. And then turn that into, a shorter prompt that I can then pass to V0 rather than, our current one, which is just, hey, redesign this website. And with that, I think you can just get closer to having like a pretty good first shot. I kind of got lost there for a moment though. The actual vision, like I was saying, is maybe you spend, an hour generating 25 new mock designs or just designs for these websites. Then maybe you go in yourself and work it or do it programmatically, right? Like there's nothing stopping me from creating several API endpoints and on my backend actually just keep going back and forth with V0 to keep iterating and refining this thing. Because that isn't necessarily relevant for what I'm doing with this Clay table in terms of what I'm trying to demonstrate. But the vision would be, hey, I built you a website. Here's a button, click it. The website's yours for $500. I'll host a website for $20 a month. And any edits you want to make to it, I'll do for $10 an edit. And I think that there's definitely like, a business model there where somebody could, make their first million or something like that. And maybe I'll try it. I don't know. Maybe I'll try it. But yeah, for now, just trying to show some command of the Clay platform. And that's basically what the tool does. Um, so yeah, anyways, where we are now is it's just dumb luck, but the first time I ran this APIfy actor, it worked. Um, maybe this website wasn't that big, and so that's why. But now when I run it on these next three, it, basically I can't get all the information. If I go to APIfy console, you'll see why. But yeah, I've reached my limit, $5 over. Um, runs. If I go into my runs, you look at the first website that I did, there was 20 results. Um, the most recent, there was 1,700. I think this one just has like blog posts. And so that's obviously going to be problematic. Even 300 is pretty problematic. It sounds like because it did timeout, even 50 is. Um, luckily, Clay has an integration to import data from an actor. And so what I've managed to do is actually just import the stuff into a separate Clay table. But yeah, it's positioned like this. And so I need to find a way to clean this data up and pass it to OpenAI. One of the roadblocks I'm facing currently is that I tried to do something like this before in this part of the site. Basically, I'm trying to send the API, APIfy results to my backend. Like I kind of mentioned earlier, maybe I'll just try to clean it on my end with OpenAI. But basically, the issue I've run into is that it's saying I have insufficient quota. I've gone in, I've looked at OpenAI, I have plenty of money in there, and I've done some debugging. It says rate limits, but my limits seem to be high enough that I don't think that's actually what it is. I'm wondering if it's because of the JSON. Like, how do you send a JSON object within JSON? Like, that's how these things are communicating with each other fundamentally, is JSON objects, what we're passing back and forth. And so my thinking is that maybe that's messing with OpenAI. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, that's where we are at. And yeah, so we're gonna try to debug this a little bit. I'm curious what this scrape gets you. Can I make this bigger? I can't. Okay. So let's go into this one. Let's add an enrichment. Or what can we do with this? How does it call them text? What does this say? Page not found. Okay, so maybe what we can do is actually add this as a column as well. Extend this out. Okay, and let's add the markdown as well. Let's see what they got for metadata. This not their job, but the ID headers, cryptic coding. Monday, October 2023. If I go in and clean this data, it seems like none of these pages were able to be found, hey? No. Let's click that, and we'll click this. And we're gonna delete these rows because they aren't useful for what we're doing. And I'm thinking, put this over here. Edgemont Dental. We're gonna add this as a column, right? And then we're gonna add the markdown as a column. This kind of seems like a useful one to understand when this website was updated. Or is that just saying when I did what I was looking to do? Metadata. Open graph. Open graph. Okay. Okay. Go to parent. Is there a way to edit column? Rename edit column URL. So left sort A to Z, filter on this column. Let's go in here, Gemini. Can I copy this whole copy? Go to parents? No. Copy to clipboard. I'm gonna paste below some of a column that details the various URLs of a website. Basically, I've done an APIfy web content crawl web scrape. What I'm trying to do is clean some of my data and get rid of, frivolous stuff. And so what I'm looking to do is understand how within Clay I could actually build something that goes through this column that has some and more data that I've shared with you, and essentially looks at the URL and determines, is this like a root page within this website, i.e., how valuable is this page in terms of how people will move through the website. So things like blog posts and such, I don't really need, but what are the main landing pages? So I'm going to share it with you. and then let's think about how we can make Clay do what we're doing right now more easily and automate it. All right, let's see what Clay's doing. Basically, what I'm trying to think about is like, okay, if I can clean this data to understand the different pages on a website, then perhaps I can make some sort of enrichment that goes through each of the Clay columns, or that goes through this particular URL column and says, is this an important page or not? And if it is, then I can be like, hey, here's the URL, here's the markdown for that page, send this to my API. Ideally in one fall swoop, but we'll see. You have a list of URLs from a website, crawl, you want to filter this, yeah. Homepage, main sections, short paths, often one level deep, service paths, also short paths, also have one blog index, blog posts, language variations, utility actions, defining filtering logic. Rule 1, exclude blog content, exclude utility pages, exclude language variations, consider path dependent with caution. Main pages are often at depth 0 or depth 1. When on Clay's exact functionalities, low-code platforms offer typically allow the following. Use a function to extract the path component from the full URL, extracting about us. Let's call this URL path. Check for keywords. Same search blog form appointment. Okay, so add enrichment, use AI. Let's use that one. Classify. I know that Clay has a use AI tool. So basically I can put in a prompt that says like, hey, go through this this column, look for this piece of information. How would I, write the prompt to say, hey, classify this as if this is an important page to visit. Basically the things that you said, but in a more succinct prompt. Let's try that. I'm hoping that it's not going to tell me this is too long. Okay. Hmm. Save and don't run. Let's add a different enrichment that will what? View all enrichments. Job opening, scrape website, use formula. Get the first name, the full name, remove this. So let's filter this. Yeah, let's filter this by date first. Equals to contains. Is it? I just want it is not empty. It does not contain any of. Let's just sort it A to Z, I guess. Any numbers. Delete any rows that have numbers. Merge waterfall. It's a bummer that they don't have like a blog thing there. Okay, I don't know if I want to use the AI thing just because I don't have that many credits. Treatment gallery. Okay. Category. Okay. So we can get rid of anything category, anything blog. Gallery, referral form, request form, about us. So no, where's the just blank one? Oh my goodness gracious. This is HTTPS this nvwelldental.com. Okay, let's get hide. I'm gonna delete this. Okay. So small well. That's good. That's good. That's good. So we can go into here. We're gonna do a similar thing. So we're gonna add the markdown, create that column. I'm gonna add the URL column. We make the URL real big. Okay. So this is a pretty big one. A to Z. So blog, any blog posts we do not care about. Look at this website. Oh my goodness. Okay. Locations, delete those. Blog, contact old, cosmetic surgery. What is this? General dentistry, dental bonding, dental filling. This is general dentistry. Preventative care, bad breath. Tooth wear, we're gonna get rid of those too. Preventative care, that seems like an important one. New patients old, delete that. New patients, peak dental arts, COVID protocols. That's old news. Team preventative care portfolio, general dentistry. What if I went to this and just removed the thing that came after general dentistry? Okay, so that's the team. Reboot this. Contact old, we're gonna get rid of. Cosmetic dentistry, I'm gonna cosmetic, get rid of this. Wait, sorry, did I even do what I said I was gonna do? General dentistry. Huh. Why did that get removed from this? Let's insert a row. This one's gonna be https that peakdentalarts.com general dentistry. Right? Okay, let's get rid of any of these. Or is that what we want to do? What is general dentistry, doctor education, our services? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Small dental, Edgemont Dental, our team, services. What's going on with this? Take a tour. Okay. Your smile is our focus. Category home remedy, 2015 category. Announcements. We can keep that. Your smiles are focus. Home remedy. Thank you. Services offered. Emergency. Take a tour. Our team. What is this? Services offered by our team. Okay. Okay. BF Dental. Okay. So now we have this. That's good. That was something that we were looking for, so that's good. Now, what are the actions I can do? So add row, right to table. So maybe one of the things that we can do is like offer a programmatic way to build a new page from the tool. I don't know if that's necessarily what is the best option. I'm just really trying to think here. Because that wasn't very automatic. I mean, it was pretty quick, but it wasn't really automatic. Maybe that's fine though, because I kind of ran out of space, unfortunately. What does Gemini think? Every keywords pattern combine logic with these statements. Okay, so basically where I'm at is I have a clay table. It's 3 columns. One is the URL. One is the, well, let's actually check. No, never mind, cancel that. So, yeah, one's a URL, one's a markdown. Okay, I need your help. So basically, I have a clay table that's set up with a bunch of enrichments. One of the integrations or enrichments that I'm doing is like too big. And so I've had to import the results from the tool itself using a different integration in a brand new separate workbook or table rather. In that table, I've gone through and I've cleaned a bunch of the data just so the amount of information is much smaller. Now, basically what I'm trying to do is in one click of a button, I want to send all of the data from this from this Clay table to my own API. With that API, I will put it through ChatGPT and essentially create a text document that gives an idea of the various landing pages on a website and the copy included in them, as well as the images, because it is a markdown that I'm able to send. And with that information, I'd like ChatGPT or some LLM to, condense it down, reformat it as a prompt that I pass to V0. How would I go about doing this? Okay. Let's use this prompt template thing that we just built. New note. New note from template prompt documentation. So prompt is that help me. One of the potential areas of confusion or technical difficulty is that because each of these APIfy rows represent a particular URL endpoint of a website, I can't combine them all into one, piece of text that I send to my API. So, do you know if there's a way for me to put them all in one cell to then send it to the API in one go, or what do you recommend? Oh, it's 5 o'clock already. Oh, I might have to end the show. Man, I was not great with my time today. It's got a big game on. Okay, baller. Yeah. So it looks like there is a solution. I'm gonna plug away on this, but the stream has to end there, unfortunately, because yeah, I didn't realize it was this late. Sick. Okay. Peace, stream. Peace. I'm gonna keep working on this though, and hopefully tomorrow I'll have like a pretty good update for you guys, and we got this working. But who knows how these things go. But yes, daily vitamins. This time I am out for sure for the rest of the evening. But I will be working on it. All right. Y'all have a beautiful evening. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.